For some time now, the Assassin's Creed titles have felt like Ubisoft's own little game design sandbox. Really, ever since they kicked off the annualization of the series with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. While it has yielded some excellent results, Assassin's Creed Unity feels like that sad amalgamation of toys left out in the sand when it rains. Amazingly, those toys are still fun to play with if you bring a few friends along. Set in the middle of the French Revolution of the 1700s, Assassin's Creed Unity follows the story of a young nobleman turned assassin, Arno. Falsely imprisoned for the murder of his adopted father, Arno turns to the assassins to hunt down the man who actually killed his semi-paternal figure. There's plenty of assassin and Templar intrigue abound, but unlike the compelling tale of vengeance woven in previous entries, Arno's story just falls flat. In part, it might be due to the fact that he and the rest of the cast sound like they came from the suburbs of London instead of Paris. In part, it could be because very little time is invested in the character's background before he's off being an assassin, running around the rooftops and shanking people. It most definitely is due to the overall gamification of the entire affair. Assassin's Creed Unity is too many things at once. It's an open-world game with action RPG type elements tossed together with a mobile companion app that unlocks additional loot in-game, and a semi-competitive social club aspect that also features microtransactions, murder mystery side missions, and a slew of co-op missions. But all of these serve a purpose, albeit a sinister one, as the entirety of Assassin's Creed Unity has been turned into a sort of terrible loot grind. Assassin's Creed 2 introduced the idea of gear with the different weapons and outfits with which you could equip Ezio. Some weapons did more damage while others had a better chance of parrying attacks or had better reach. That same idea carries through into Assassin's Creed Unity, but whereas the previous Assassin's Creed titles have placed an emphasis on the story, the latest entry switches this equation around and places the emphasis on loot and collectible hunting over the tail. Franks, Creed points, sync points, it all feels like every aspect of the game has become some sort of mini-game within itself. Of course, a lot of this is entirely optional. You don't have to go in search of the best gear or even the best middle-of-the-road gear. Just playing the regular story missions will earn you enough sync points, Franks, and Creed points to unlock enough gear and skills that you can make it through the main story. Being left with a lukewarm story to play through, however, isn't much of a consolation. The one shining beacon of hope in all this is that the various systems that undermine the single-player experience actually make the cooperative play that much better. In many ways, Assassin's Creed Unity feels like a prototype of a multiplayer game. While many of the story and side missions are solo only, you're free to invite other players to your game at any time. You can run around Paris, visit historic landmarks, gather the various collectibles, and engage in specific co-op missions. The missions themselves are split between two different types, co-op missions and heists. The co-op missions usually entail doing the sort of activities, i.e. follow some person to a location, steal something, and assassinate a particular target that you do in the main game. These objectives are strung together to form a sort of narrative with some basis in historical events. For example, one particular mission saw my squad mates and me breaking into a particular prison to get a key from a guard, then locate the notebook of a political prisoner being held there, and finally rescuing that prisoner from execution. Each phase of this mission required us to scope out the area, plan the best approach and which guards to take out first, and use some distractions to get all the guards going one way while we went another. The heist missions are more straightforward, simply make your way into a certain guarded location and loot it, but are even more cooperative, due in part to the reward system. If you manage to go through the entire mission without being spotted or alerting the guards, then you'll get a big payout. Get seen a bunch, and you'll only walk away with a few francs. Coordinating movements and spending some time planning your route in and out pay better than going on an all-out shank fest. Regardless of which mission type you choose, both of these missions feel like the evolution of the Wolfpack mode found in the previous two Assassin's Creed games. Instead of being tossed into an arena with a timer and being given a series of unconnected and random tasks to complete, co-op missions and heists in Assassin's Creed Unity have their own little story and each new objective is linked. It also has better co-op moments. Coordinating with your team to take down a group of guards all at once is a spectacle to behold. Finding yourself cornered by a group of foes only to have a teammate drop from above or pop out of a haystack to quickly dispose of them is awesome. Intentionally planning and executing such a thing is epic. This is the co-op experience I've been waiting to play since Wolfpack was first introduced. And whereas the previous attempt split these kinds of things off into an entirely separate multiplayer mode with its own skill system and gains, Assassin's Creed Unity merges it all into one. The gear that you acquire has specific abilities that enhance your co-op skills that you then use in these missions to better assist your team. Skills like a shared eagle vision or an assassin's cache where you can restock your ammunition. All in all, this is a co-op experience through and through. The Assassin's Creed games we have come to know, and for some, love over the past few years have fallen victim to popular gaming trends and various external gaming constructs. But from those ashes, a new type of Assassin's Creed is starting to emerge. One where we are free to pursue the Templars and thwart their evil schemes with our friends by our side. The cooperative experience for the franchise is starting to look very bright indeed.